Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's December, it's the 11th, and it's 2025. All those things are up for debate, but it is what it is, whatever. Can you believe how fast 2025 has blown by us right now? And I can't help but notice that people are working on things like that, and I think they may have actually accomplished it because it seems like just the other day I was telling you that a guy drove a Tesla in front of the Trump Tower on the 1st of January in Louisiana, and he was also ex-military, and he blew himself up in a car with a bomb that he made from fireworks that completely annihilated him to the point where they couldn't recognize him. But fortunately, even though he was inside a Tesla and incinerated, absolutely incinerated like he was cremated, his passport remained. Remember that? Well, yeah, it's almost January all over again. And here's the funny thing. Everything is moving forward perfectly. No problem. Nothing slowing down. Here we go. So be ready for this. Here it is. This is what the plan is.
In tonight's Spotlight, the Trump administration says it could soon require visitors to submit 5 years of social media history. And if they find something that they don't like, well, you could be barred from entering the U.S. Right now, citizens from countries in the visa waiver program, including the U.K., Germany, and Australia, have to register online and pay $40 before they're approved to travel to the U.S. for up to 90 days. But according to the federal registrar, the new rule would not only require applicants to share their social media accounts, but also undergo a more detailed examination of their history, including the names of family members, where they lived, and submit a selfie in their application. So for more on all this, I want to bring in Rosanna Berardi to break all this down. She's a managing partner at the Berardi Immigration Law Firm. And Rosanna, first, thank you so much for your time. But listen, I suppose, first off, I mean, do you see any merit to potential legal challenges of these new reviews?
Well, Alex, thanks for having me. There may be some legal challenges. However, it's a dicey issue. It seems like there are major First Amendment and privacy concerns here, but the U.S. Constitution and the Supreme Court have clearly held that foreign nationals entering the U.S. don't have the same right to privacy that U.S. citizens do. So this is in the Federal Register. I would not be surprised if it went into effect in the new year.
Well, I'm curious, is the concept of scrutinizing socials completely new? I mean, certainly, you think about like the hiring process for many jobs, and they might look at, what you post on Instagram or what you've tweeted recently. But from federal institutions, is that new?
Well, it's not brand new. For visa applicants, people needing to go to the U.S. consulate and embassy worldwide, the government's been requiring social media history for several years. But the point of the visa waiver program through ESTA is to reward people from countries that have a great track record of, non-criminals and not entering the U.S. unlawfully. This flies in the face of the whole intent of this ESTA program because it's treating every ESTA applicant like a visa applicant and asking for a ton of information.
One of the other things, and I recognize that I'm probably asking you to look into a crystal ball here, but what do you think CBP would be looking for? What would determine what's acceptable and what's not?
So I think they're looking for individuals that may be involved in government propaganda or anti-U.S. sentiment. The concern that I have is who's going to decide what's offensive, what's inappropriate. Is it going to be an algorithm? Is it going to be a human? Going back to Facebook 5 years, I mean, you think of what a kid 20 years old is posting versus a kid that's 25 could be very different. I don't know what I posted 5 years ago, let alone 5 weeks ago. So I'm just concerned with the breadth of this and also asking people for 10 years of their email addresses. That would be a tough one for me as well.
So first of all, I borrowed this heavily from A Call from an Uprising's YouTube channel. Why am I doing that? Because this information needs to get out in every direction possible. It is what it is, so that's what I'm doing. But here's the fun part. A lot of people will just watch what I just showed you and what Call for an Uprising showed you earlier today. Thank you, Call. At any rate, give me a call. People are going to say, well, who cares? That's for keeping terrorists out of the United States. Oh, no, 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 no. Do not be fooled in one way whatsoever at all. Telling people in order to come to the United States, you need to give us 5 years of your social media and 5 years of your emails. That will come right back here because that's exactly what the plan is. What they'll do is an American will go to another country and do something wrong, and they'll say, oh, no. It turns out we're going to have to, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. We're going to have to do this to Americans to keep other countries safe. The New World Order. We need to keep the 10 kings happy. And that's exactly what it is they're going to do. That is the plan. Don't be fooled. And look at some of the criteria. It is astonishing, in your face, and fast. This is fast. Trump is not playing around whatsoever at all.
That social media websites like Facebook, which we all know are creations of the Pentagon and DARPA. We know why they exist because these are websites where people willingly tell the government, tell people around them, tell their family members what's on their mind. This was the first phase in uploading your consciousness because, of course, anytime a world event happens, people would go on Facebook and they would tell everybody what happened, whether a family member died and they wanted to put out a public statement for their friends. Of course, we see how people behave now with social media. Anytime an event happens, everybody feels the need to post their thoughts or their opinions on it as if there's some type of a celebrity. This is part of the mass conditioning that has occurred with social media. But Facebook itself and all these social media accounts were created by the government. Again, the Pentagon LifeLog project was killed off on February 4th, 2024. And of course, on the same exact day, Facebook was launched. And like I've said a million times, people would not have willingly participated or signed up for websites like Facebook had they known that these were government websites. They thought that this was just the creation from a college kid. It was a fun idea. You can interact with other classmates. Then it turned into from being a college type website to being a national website where anybody could sign up and find their family members and connect with friends. And of course, this was all ploy to get people to share things online so the government could build a profile.
And he's not wrong whatsoever at all. All these social media apps, especially TikTok, are weapons to be used against you. But TikTok not only steals all your thoughts, it directs you. It's a weapon. It is a 6G monster weapon they're using against you. Don't use TikTok ever at all, or ignore it. But not only was Facebook put up under the guises as being what Carl said, something to connect with family, it's a weapon. It's a straight up weapon, just like right after 9/11, the Central Intelligence Agency wanted to launch a complete spy ring, and Congress and the people actually shot it down. So it went away quietly in 2003. And as it was going away, it simply handed the keys off to a guy named Peter Thiel and Palantir. Do you see how it's going here? These people need to go away. They need to be taken off the face of the earth. But you know what? No one's going to do it because there's only a few of us. They know exactly what we see, hear, and think at all times. And they've got armies around them. Armies. So we're just going to have to go with the flow here. But the flow is going to be 100% domination by your overlords. These people are really telling you your sandwich is 8% of your daily carbon allowance. Global warming is a complete hoax. It's not real. It's geoengineering. This entire thing is a lie. And yet, because of people just doing their own thing, hanging out on TikTok, worrying about paying their bills, etc., there's only a few of us that have stood in the line of fire, like myself, Call for an Uprising, many, many others, but I'm just off the top of my head. You know what I'm saying? They've replaced us with conspiracy theorists, but these conspiracy theorists are all actors. You know what I'm saying? They took our channels out, but we were never monetized. And we're not monetized now. Right now, they're looking at us and you, just like I have told you, call for an uprising, and other channels have told you. Everything that I'm saying is all going into the data bank. Everything that you're saying about what I'm saying in the comments on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, etc., is all going into the data bank. You're on the list, and so am I. So you are going to have to make a conscious decision whether you're going to just stay with this world or you're going to stand in your base of Christianity and go out. Don't ever let them take you, physically take you. How do I stop them? Think about it. Think about it. Any act of aggression whatsoever at all will be met with overwhelming violence. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to one of my subscribers that came here last night to visit with me, and we were discussing that. And I said, what do you think we went to Afghanistan and Iraq for? I've told you this a billion times, and I do know. This was my cup of tea. I know exactly what the SOP is, Standard Operating Procedure. We went over there, we completely legalized heroin and flooded our own country with it to weaken the nation with pharmakia. Done. And we had our troops going door to door to door to door to door looking for Osama bin Laden. He's not even real. Looking for weapons of mass destruction. They're not even real. No. Everyone that left the military goes into law enforcement, alphabet agencies, correctional facilities, and they come home with the same mindset that when it's time to go door to door to door to door, I've told you this numerous times over the last 15 plus years. That's what it's for. That's what they're here for. These people aren't humans. They're not humans whatsoever at all. You think it's a complete coinky-dink that Peter Thiel's name, literally all the letters in Peter Thiel come out to the reptile? Remember Zuckerberg? You remember that fun little fella?
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human still. But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not human.
Because time is so short, I don't have the time to get into all of this reptilian, demonic, transhuman things, but the Freudian slips come out once in a while. Peter Thiel could have easily have changed his name to something else that didn't come out to the reptile in anagram form, but he didn't because he doesn't care. He knows people aren't paying attention or they're not going to do anything. Do you see what I'm saying? They're not going to do anything. Well, I ain't going to be part of the New World Order whatsoever at all. Put that into your Palantir system, even though you already know that, because I am who I am. I've never hidden my identity. You know who I am. You know where I'm at. It is what it is, whatever. And my entire life shows that when push comes to shove, I'll push back even harder. Do you see what I'm saying? But in this particular case, I don't see how it's going to work like that. But here's the fun thing right here. They took us all down off of YouTube, okay? All the people that were really telling the real truth. You wanted to know what happened on 9/11? Truthers found every single solitary thing to completely 100% prove it in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt. Who did it, why they did it, who got paid, etc. Nada. Ugats. Sandy Hook. Same. Ugats. Nada. Zip, zero, zilch. We could do this all day and all night, but they still took us down because we were dangerous. They put us back up. You can't make a cent off this platform. We can't. Meanwhile, you got people like this making absolute millions. These people are actors and frauds. And people that used to follow me, Call for an Uprising, Nicholson 1968, etc., now follow these people. And these people are actors and put in place to do exactly what they're doing. Distract you and keep you in the left-right paradigm. They never tell you the real truth about anything whatsoever at all. Candace Owens just strings people along. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, yeah, well, you know what? I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'll tell you it's the Jews. I'll tell you that the Ashkenazis are in Israel pretending to be the Israelites. Remember them? Because they're still completely wiping out a complete 100% population of people. They're wiping out the Semites. The biggest anti-Semites on earth are the Israelites. But on that, I'll digress. But these are the modern-day truthers, apparently.
Causing a shift in the political leanings of a generation for the first time in history is now in dire straits. Their leader and founder murdered, and prominent pieces of human trash are trying to destroy it. Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate, She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told me? She has no security. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these fucking conservatives out there that send me these fucking messages have no fucking balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these fucking messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't fucking DM me.
I mean, it's been shockingly easy for Candace to take control of the narrative here, which does kind of prove her point that people around Charlie didn't really care about him because they're letting her destroy his company. It's embarrassing. So Candace might be right about that. These people aren't even putting up a fight. Also, Candace worked for Turning Point early on in her career, so they helped create this monster. And I think now she's the most popular podcaster in the world, and she's been milking Charlie's assassination like crazy. She's probably made tens of millions of dollars from it. I think every episode she's done since his death has been about that and her theories on it and what kind of dreams she's having. She seriously thinks her dreams can tell the future, and that's how she found out Charlie Kirk was betrayed. Apparently, he came into one of her dreams and told her that, which I know it seems like this would be a joke, but she's dead serious about this. She thinks her dreams can actually predict the future, and she uses her dreams and her intuition about Charlie to convince people he was betrayed. And there are millions of people that tune in to listen to this every day. So I gotta give Candace credit. She is the greatest bullshit artist of all time. I mean, somehow the most popular right-wing influencer currently is a lady who thinks her dreams can predict the future.
A super vivid dream. I was pregnant. Tends to happen a lot to women when they're pregnant. But in that dream from 2023, my former producer of the show and I were standing in the control room, and she told me that she was 26 weeks pregnant. This is in the dream. And she told me exactly what month the baby was coming. I asked her in the dream, is it a boy? Is it a girl? And she said, it's a boy. I woke up and I immediately texted my producer in real life and I said, hey, you're pregnant, just so you know, it's a boy. And then she found out that she was pregnant 1 week later. She had no idea when I texted her. I similarly, like I just said, had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. I also felt in the dream that it is soon going to be revealed, that it's actually inevitable that it is going to be revealed, that there is nothing and no one that is going to stop the truth from coming out, and it is going to have international consequences. Women tend to have a stronger intuition about people, I would say. We care about whether or not his friends betrayed him, okay? So dreams can give you some sort of intuition, and I certainly think that mine gave me a lot of intuition. Loving your emails telling me about your dreams. People in Turning Point had dreams. There was one young woman who emailed me and said, Candace, like, I just have to tell you, the week leading up to this, I had a very vivid dream about so-and-so at the company and 6 snakes that were around him. There's many people who dreamed, for whatever reason, the number 6 was in their dreams in terms of the weapon, whatever it was 6 that was appearing. And so I'm kind of going by a vibe that there may be 6 people who betrayed him by the end of this, because there was one too many dreams to that effect from people around the world. Trust your gut. Don't ignore your dreams. I felt it leading up to Charlie's assassination. I pulled my children out of school. I was having this dreams and visions about bees and organization that was happening in America. I have a sense of dread that a lot of these events that are happening, these inexplicable events like the Malibu fires, these sort of coastal events.
So maybe everybody just tunes into her show to see how crazy she is. I mean, I wish that was the case, but she actually has a lot of fans, and she's causing real problems for people because they don't know how to respond to her. You know, they're hoping she'd just go away, but it doesn't seem like she will, and she just keeps doubling down and getting more and more out there. I mean, it's nearly impossible to even keep up with these theories of hers. Like, there are some suspicious things about Charlie's assassination, but Candace just throws so much shit at the wall. It's like, what are we even doing here? Just stick to one theory. I mean, at the end, she said,
these are the new truthers. Russell Brand, Candace Owens, Tim Pool. We warned you about these people when they first showed up, and magically, when we all got taken out, they popped right up back in to fill the void. And they're making millions and millions. If you're telling the truth, you ain't making millions of dollars. Ask me how I know. Do you see what I'm saying? This is completely and utterly ludicrous. And the dude that's narrating this video that I'm stealing this from, Too Lazy to Try is the name of his channel, ironically enough. Everything he does is just literally talking about drama that everybody else does. You want to make money on YouTube? Drama. Truth? It ain't it. Christianity? Absolutely not. But this is laughable to me to watch all this stuff unfolding right now. And it's amazing how many people follow Candace Owens and think, how come she's not dead? How come she's not dead? You think somebody got hit in the neck with a 30-06 or a 308 and it stopped the bullet? Because it's so stupid, it's ridiculous. That's why I never covered any of this. I never will cover any of this. It's all a massive distraction, and it's worked exponentially well because these people are still milking it to this very minute of this very day. We've got other fish to fry, in my opinion. I'm a little amped up.
I mean, at the end, she said she's had dreams of bees because she also believes there's this underground beekeeper cult that has infiltrated schools. And I think that's why she took her kids out of school. And then she also thinks this had something to do with Charlie Kirk's assassination. So it's just really hard not to laugh at this shit. I mean, it sounds like she's trying to be funny, like she knows how ridiculous she sounds, but people take her seriously and she's trying to be serious. Also, she always finds a way to tie every significant event into everything else she's been talking about. You know, like Charlie Kirk getting killed, that has something to do with the president of France's wife secretly being a man. And it also has something to do with the underground beekeeper cult Candace has been having dreams about that she thinks is in schools.
Came across what looked to me like a bunch of people talking about bees. You're going, Candace, what do you, like literally bees. In a way that the only way I can describe it, she was like, they were speaking about bees, but they weren't speaking about bees. It was very coded. And I'm going, am I going crazy? Or do you think that all these people are really actually, quote unquote, bee farmers or saying that they farm bees? What is this lingo that I'm not understanding? I said to my husband, there is some weird underground, it's like I sense like imminent danger is coming. And for some reason, I feel like there is an underground that has emerged at schools and it's like related to bees. That's what I said. And I messaged multiple people about this, my sister. I think it's a communist underground and I don't know why, but it has something to do with bees. Totally sensible thing to say to your husband. Then came September 10th. Obviously, Charlie lost his life. And a few days later, I was told, and I sensed instantly that there was like a hive of people that were involved in this. I just knew it. And when it happened, I just went, oh my goodness. And my gut is telling me that this was the thing, that the dread that I sensed that was coming out of school. And I had no idea. I am not a flag person at all. And then someone told me, and I was astonished that Utah recently, extraordinarily, did modernize their bee flag. I had no idea that the Utah state flag is a hexagonal beehive. So let
me tell you something. This girl and her husband and everybody involved are doing their job. You're not the number one podcast on earth telling the truth, period. Anybody that's getting dreams, yeah, guess what? That would be 6G technology or things being implanted in your head, or you're just simply reading a script. But here's the thing. No one's ever going to find out anything about Charlie Kirk, like they didn't find anything about Sandy Hook. It doesn't make any difference. What's happening is what we're talking about right now. The New World Order is here. You never hear these guys talking about this stuff. You never do. You hear them pointing fingers vaguely. They won't say what I just said. Israel, people in Israel, the government of Israel is masquerading as the Israelites. They're Ashkenazi Jews that are the most anti-Semitic people on earth because they're literally wiping out an entire race of Semites in a genocidal fashion. And we forgot about that because of Charlie Kirk. The PSYOP worked very well. But let's get back to what's going to affect you very, 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 very soon, shall we? Real quick. Get your money out of the bank because they're going to take it. Get your money out of the bank. They're going to take it, turn it into gold, silver. Here it is right here. Have it sent to your house and hide it for whatever may come. Or just be completely at their mercy 1,000% with no way of trading or working with anybody else at all. Smart people are doing it. There it is.
I decided to use AI and ask it questions about how this entire process is going to work. Who's going to be disqualified from entering the United States based on their social media content? And I even asked it questions about certain topics like 5G or being anti-vaccine, what that means in regards to getting a U.S. visa, and you will not believe the answers that it gave to me. So let's start here. U.S. authorities, including the Department of State and Customs and Border Protection, use social media disclosures to conduct security vetting under the Immigration and Nationality Act. The goal is to identify applicants who are inadmissible due to national security threats, public safety risks, or violations of U.S. laws. This screening expanded in 2025 via Executive Order 14161 focuses on derogatory information for the past 5 years, often starting with algorithmic flags followed by human review. Not every post is scrutinized deeply. Most applicants pass without issue if there's no red flags. Well, of course, people hear this type of stuff and they'll say, well, I don't have anything to worry about. I just posted, grandma's broccoli casserole recipe and I shared photos of my kids without realizing that I'm sharing these photos with the government. I didn't do anything bad, but they don't realize that this is about the thought police. This isn't about going online and trying to find Al-Qaeda interacting with people on Facebook, okay? Because, of course, we all know Al-Qaeda and ISIS, all these terrorist organizations are really funded by the CIA and are a branch or a tentacle of the CIA. They don't really actually exist. They like to use those stories so that people hear, well, they arrested this kid. He was online networking with ISIS, so the police showed up at his house, and everyone goes, that's great that the government stepped in, that the FBI stepped in. Because they want you to think that that's who they're really targeting. But they're not targeting them. They're targeting people who think like we do, who understand what the government is actually doing. So these are the things that they'll give you. Terrorism or extremism. These are people who are going to get flagged when trying to enter the U.S., okay? Terrorism or extremism, posts supporting, aiding, or promoting designated foreign terrorist organizations like ISIS and Hamas, extremist rhetoric, sharing propaganda, anti-American or anti-Semitic views. You got to love how that lines up with one another. Not anti-Christian, just anti-Semitic, always is, right? Endorsing, promoting, or espousing hostility toward the U.S. government, its policies, or American values, anti-Semitic harassment, violence, or conspiracy theories. So these are the things that are on the list, okay? So conspiracy theories about the Jewish people. That means talking about the synagogue of Satan. That means talking about things like the blood libel. They will deny you a visa. If you've ever posted or shared a video from somebody like me or someone else that you listen to on your Facebook account that might have asked questions about the origins of vampires, so to speak. Well, guess what? That'll be considered anti-Semitic and you'll be denied entry into America. Then they say criminal activity, admissions of boasts of crimes. As if, well, people are pretty dumb these days, so I guess people are online boasting about getting arrested, association with gangs or criminal networks, evidence of unlawful acts. See, things like that sound somewhat normal. Of course, we know they've trained everybody about anti-Semitism to think that, well, if you say anything about a certain group of people, you should be arrested, you should be thrown in jail, which of course they do in other countries already, and we know with the Noahide laws how that's all going to work out for the rest of us. Then they have health or moral issues, content showing communicable diseases, or prostitution and sex trafficking involvement. So the common sheeple hears all that stuff, and they're like, that seems, within reason, right? We don't want that here in America, right? And then you go into, start deep diving. You start asking the AI robot about certain views and how that's going to work with entering the United States and getting a visa. Well, how about anti-vaccine views? It says, what triggers scrutiny? Posts calling vaccines government bioweapons, urging mass non-compliance, or linking them to conspiracies, depopulation plots that imply hostility to U.S. public health policies, mild skepticism, quote, I'm concerned about side effects, is low risk, but extremism, especially if tied to violence or groups like anti-vax militias, raise alarm. Where are there anti-vax militias? Where's there any militia in the United States of America? I mean, if they tell you that there is a militia somewhere, it's their militia that they've made up, because there's no militias in America. They wouldn't allow you to even get close enough to form a militia because they're monitoring, tracking all of us. So if anybody was like, hey, how about 50 of us get together armed? We start a militia, right? And we'll pretend like we're going to be the new Waco. Well, you'd be killed and shot immediately, and they put propaganda out there saying why they did it, and everybody would agree because they'd say, well, these people were going to overthrow the White House. These people were going to go to a gay pride parade. These people, and everyone would go, yep, good thing we got rid of them, right? So has anyone heard of an anti-vax militia? Let me give you a break. The Trump administration's crackdown on misinformation, ironically while targeting fact checkers, heightens focus on this as false vaccine claims were central to 2020 through 2025 censorship debate. So medium risk could lead to administrative processing, delay of 1 to 3 months, or interview questions, no widespread 2025 denials reported solely for anti-vax posts. High risk, if escalating, suggests intent to evade U.S. health mandates during entry. So if you try to not get vaccinated, say if you try to get a fake vaccine card, which they like to tell you is illegal, which of course is not. What's illegal is them telling you that you have to take a vaccine that they just created in a laboratory, which of course we know is filled with nanotechnology. I mean, that's what's really illegal. And then look, if you go into other topics like 5G, for example, right? When people like us talk about 5G, people's heads spin. They don't even grasp what we're talking about, right? They look at a tower and they think that it's making their phone go faster, even though there's been no proof since those things have gone up that anyone's downloading music faster. They just can't think or process any of this stuff, right? So claims that 5G causes cancer, COVID, or enables government surveillance control, e.g. burn 5G towers to stop the deep state, especially if bundled with other conspiracies. This echoes COVID-era theories linking 5G to pandemics, which persist in fringe groups. Standalone tech concerns are fine, but calls to action or ties to extremism flag as radical ideology.
Because of my location, I'm not going to play that entire video, but I will leave links pinned in the comment below for a Call for an Uprising's channel, as well as Too Lazy to Try's channel. And if you've got the time, listen to it, because Call for an Uprising goes on for another 25 minutes explaining this enormous trap that they're putting up around us right now, telling us that they're trying to save us from people coming into our country that are bad. These are the same people that brought in tens of millions of illegals, all military-age men, for the last 12, 15 years. It wasn't just Biden, and Biden was a puppet or a robot or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So understand that. Links will be below. I can't play the whole video because I wouldn't be able to upload it tonight because I'm in West Plains, Missouri. But Palantir, Peter Thiel, you already knew that. Richie from Boston. I'm out.